Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night to those who are going to bed, but yet don't want to go to bed yet. So my name is Jose. What I do is I would like to call myself or coin the term micro-astrology. It's what I do, where I work with over 200 plus asteroids. So, but today I was thinking, maybe I should kind of put that aside for a little bit because I wanted to work on a specific series of things that I think will be quite enjoyable to some degree, but it depends on how we choose to make it. This is a choice. Things that are going on right now, I wanted to make this sort of basically a something that can be uplifting, especially these times. For those who like traveling, like who love traveling, who feel they just want to be called to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through kind of what's called national or mundane astrology, which is going to read the charts of countries, but more on a personal level. So it's not necessarily mundane astrology, and see how you resonate with it. More on a cultural level and see what I get out of it as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the dice, coin dice, and then I'm going to work with letters to see what comes up. Depends on what's happening here. So we're going to go with first based on the signs. These are zodiacal signs in astrology, stereotypical ones. 12 signs. Let's see what we get. Okay. So let's see. All right. Usually I do a coin toss first. If it's heads, that means it's one die. If it's tails, it's two dice. Okay. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so that's heads. Is that right? Okay, that means it's one die. Okay. Okay, so Aries. All right. So let's see what we get. Aries. Oh, that's misspelled. All right. And the countries associated with Aries there's a lot of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with the letters. First letter that comes up will be associated with that country. Okay, hold on. S. I don't see a country named after that. Okay. So places formerly occupied by. Okay. Well, no, you know what? I'm going to go with S. How does this work? Let's see if I'm getting a name. I'm hearing Saratoga, something. Capital cities beginning with S. So Aries is about capital cities. Okay. First thing was San Jose, Costa Rica. Oh, okay, so we're gonna go with Costa Rica. Now we're wondering if there's a chart for Costa Rica. Mm, okay. Okay. September 15th. All right. Awesome. That means that we are going to use, let's see, change that one. And let's see what we get. So it was September 15th. 1821. They keep saying that it's like they do, they call this, that we have to do the 12 a.m. thing. No, it's not accurate. So what we're going to do is, because it's 12 a.m., it's too general. We're going to go with unknown. Better to say unknown than the actual 12 a.m. Okay. Let's see here. 1821. Did I get that right? Okay. But it was signed in Cartago. Okay. Let's see if they have it. Yes, they do. All right. So let's see what we get out of this chart. You know what? Let's just make it more general. We'll use the commonly used asteroids, dwarf planets, and all that stuff. Okay, I'm going to share the chart here. Let's see what we got. All right. So according to this one, let's see. Okay, so the government is, okay, Sun conjunct Mercury and Vesta. So it looks like what this shows me is that there's a sort of a connection to little things that typically Virgo. But typically it's about the government being in sort of like it's very, there's a sort of an industrial sort of system that they have there. They're connected to science, connected to humanitarian aid possibly, or humanitarian stuff. It's not necessarily worldwide, but little things. Very, I don't know if, like, the sun isn't usually tied to the culture. It's usually Venus, but it could be part of the whole personality of the country, where it's more about the system likes to be connected to anything that's very methodical. Okay, fact finding, those kind of stuff, cleanliness, that kind of stuff. They probably promote those things. However, when we look at it, although it is square, they have challenges with their political systems, because it's both Uranus and Neptune. Both Uranus and Neptune often represent in mundane astrology conservative versus liberal kind of thing, or left wing versus right wing sort of things. But there's a fluctuation, I would say, because it's in both Sagittarius. One is, ironically, one is in a more strict sign, like in Capricorn, Neptune, Capricorn. There, Uranus in Sagittarius conjunction square to the Sun, specifically more to Vesta. It's showing me that it's not only it's challenging, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. There's actually grand trine all the way to Pluto there retrograde. So that means there's something to do with waste management systems there. Because they're still learning how to work with things like with waste management. I've heard good schools like in Costa Rica. It's one of those places where they have like these independent school systems. If you look at Chiron here, it's in Aries and it's retrograde. So they have a very sort of like pioneering, but it's in private locations. So it means that Chiron rules the Sun here and Mercury and Vesta. And that means that there's a pioneering aspect to the health system tied to things that are more about information, about learning. The educational system is also tied to this. Little things, little pockets of the country. I've seen this. There are several schools that actually promote natural learning. I've seen this school. I forgot what its name of the school is. It's somewhere in Costa Rica, because I was interested in. It's like, oh, that's so cool. It's very organic, right? They don't have an actual strict curricular system or curriculum. I love it. So it's just like very interesting. Plus, it's closer. The Costa Rica has its own like places that are connected to its own rainforests as well. So like you can see why there's a lot of Earth stuff is there as well. Especially with Neptune there, they're more liberal about the forest. They're more conservative about their certain beliefs, especially in Sagittarius there. They can be conservative, but I mean, that comes with any culture as well. right? So it's almost looking at this from, finding the golden nugget in the country. Oftentimes in astrology, when you see a square aspect here, you can see here, for those who know astrology, square aspects oftentimes, oh, it's a square. It's like, oh, it means it's bad. And like, no, it keeps us awake. It makes us awake. And it keeps us on our toes, brings us an awareness to the culture and brings awareness to what we do. So similarly, when it comes to the culture of Costa Rica, it's this very similar way, right? Um, let's see here. What else do I see? So Chiron was that, and it's actually trying to series here with also Pallas Athena. So there's a lot of wisdom with foreign things or things that are like foreign relations, especially foreign trade when it comes to like grains, rice, anything to do with grains, anything to do with like legumes, vegetation, and they go through the specific cycles. Also, epigenetics is tied to this one. So they probably have had to experience a lot of like cycles through foreign trade or foreigners coming into the country and having wisdom and being able to be like a kind of a guide to the world. We have here Pallas Athena. She's just she's the one that first coaches. She's the one who trains people. She's the one who is very much like just an independent um, outlook on things. She was born without parents. She's fatherless, or she grew out of the head of Zeus. So Pallas Athena, but she's also about like debt. She's also about compensation, debt, kind of like it's kind. So it comes with that sort of part of that culture. Right, which actually there's challenges with all that stuff with the past that they've gone through. Same like the path of the country right here. It's in the Pisces Virgo polarity here, north and south node. Even though there's a square there, I wouldn't call that like again, it's just challenges when it comes to foreign trade and all that stuff. And compensation and money, borrowing money from systems, money what do you call this? What do you call that? Uh, not foreign trade, like international debt, or let's not call it debt, international borrowing, international loans, that kind of stuff. There are challenges with that, with the path that it takes. Its path is the head of the dragon, or the north node is in Pisces. So it's more about the countries being able to trust the process that it goes through as a collective. It is trying to Varuna here, so if they just trust the powerlessness that they go through, Varuna rules cohesion and working with entrusting the flow of doing the little things, working hard instead of pushing discipline. It's more like doing the little things that go in that direction. Now I want to go straight into what did you see here? Venus and Libra here. It's not conjunct to Orcus, but it is opposite of the what is that one here? Saturn core Jupiter retrograde. This is the stellium right here, and it's also Orcus. So that means that they have to integrate the things that they experience with things, particularly with old folks home, like traditions or traditions that are meant to be, let's say, flowing and broken, or it's a focus on the country to work on that in that regard, to work on things that create things for them. So newer things, newer ideas, and going with that flow. Core is about that. It's actually conjunct Jupiter here, which is a high vibration of Jupiter. So when it comes to foreign trade, foreign businesses, higher education, like universities, the vision of the country itself is really about integrating the things that the people would enjoy, like theaters, movies, I don't know, cosmetics, anything to do with beauty in the country, but also working towards integrity, making sure that they're in actual surveillance of what's happening. We're like being cautious, and working with people. What do we see here? Eris rules Libra, and it's actually in the sign of Aquarius here, so retrograde. I don't see a connection between the two. So that means that there's certain parts of the country where they're very innovative. They're very like humanitarian as well. So I can see why I heard word humanitarian earlier. That was kind of ringing in my ear. It's like, okay. But the people are actually, the people work well with the government. It feels like, see, there's a trine to the sun here. So that means that the people work with the government, the systems. Um, I like that. So if you're one of those people who like to work hard with your hands, work with the earth, being more natural, that's good because you have moon here also. It's exalted in the sign of Taurus. So that means that when it comes to farming, there's a lot of farming, farmland, or innovative farmland things to work with. They're more scientific based in Costa Rica. So if you're open to that, look it up, do a bit of the research. It also flows Makemake. That's like the sun that the moon here is actually trying Makemake retrograde in Capricorn. That means it's very innovative, more manifesting ideas. But again, it's retrograde, so that means it's kind of like in private companies, small pockets of the country, small organizations here and there. It's actually also sextile to Fulus here and also to Varuna. So that means that when efforts are made individually, I would say more like when it comes to things that are more traditional, it is tied to Capricorn here, working with the land as well. Literally specific, also deeper in the land, like farming, agricultural stuff. Things might be seen as like, oh, there might be mistakes that are made. That's Fulus. But it's almost like the little things that make a huge difference as well. So that could be anything from like new bright ideas that might, although they might fail, they keep continuing doing that and just, they say, okay, let's try again. Let's try. Let's not give up. Right? There's a perfection nature to Capricorn, so that means it's all that stuff. But we have also here, because Saturn is in retrograde, it rules Capricorn, it means that there is pioneering efforts that have been continuously being made as a country in general. A birth chart of any person or country or place or something, an event, is the dominant energy for that specific thing you're looking for. What else am I seeing here? What do I see? Oh, Saturn and displacement here is actually, you see this, it's like grand square. There's a big one right here. It's this grand fixed square. Mars, Venus, Juno, and also Saturn core. Specifically Saturn core and Jupiter here. There's that grand square there. What that signifies to me is a lot to do with like action or the military when it comes to like foreign relations. Not necessarily foreign relations, like I would say like banking systems. I think that's banking systems with Juno. More like marriage. It's tied to marriage. It's tied to anything that's committed to commitments. So when it comes to contracts, foreign contracts, or Capricorn doesn't really rule foreign things. Capricorn rules, tradition, more like high towering places like mountainous regions, um, hidden, like not hidden places, places of solitude, places of quietness. There's something about that. There's a sort of contract that is being made. I'll have to double check here what Juno says. It says about Juno. The currency system. There you go. So the currency, there's something about that one with Mars. Mars rules technically action, military, but also like hospitals. So something to do with like home currencies, like home environments, because it's Mars here is in Cancer. So because it's in Capricorn, and it's Capricorn as well. Storehouses, okay. Threshold, sheep and cow pens, sushes. What is this one here? Economics is also tied to economics, tied to businesses, traditions, okay. Conventions, specific conventional things. But Juno rules currencies and also communities when it comes to that stuff. Group immunity is probably tied to this one as well, which is interesting because it's actually opposite of Mars, and Mars rules immunity as well, or rather the ability of the body to get rid of like any toxins in the body or viruses or bacteria. It's a very like burning effect to that. So it works with the immune system. which is very interesting because it actually is also tied to, I think, core, something to do with that. It's squared to Venus, so that means that there's something tied to, what is that one? It's usually the home and like marriage. So I feel like there's something to do with marriage halls, like contracts, but because if you're talking about getting married uh in Costa Rica, it depends on where you come from, right? What you're doing it for. They have like specific traditions when it comes to that. So yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So even though I did mention the whole like, there's this square stuff and looking for things, it's also good to be realistic. I don't see anything else here that pertain that's important. I would say the biggest one is like when I looked into Venus was that the people can be quite friendly, harmonious, relationship wise. But the thing is, when it comes to these things when it comes to marriage, they have traditions that are still being kept in the country. But at the same time, it's also not as traditional because you have here Saturn in Aries. That's why it's square to Capricorn, Juno and Capricorn. So culture wise, they like to be friendly. They like to chat. They like to, relate with others. Maybe not necessarily foreigners. I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah, they have a humanitarian. It's kind of small though. Not everyone, but at the same time, it's there. So I would say the gold nugget that we get from this one is look for things that are positive about the country. Keep doing your research instead of relying on what people say, even what I say. My goal here was just to basically analyze and see what Costa Rica has to offer. I don't know. So we'll see where it goes from here. Let me know in the comments below what you find out about Costa Rica. If you've been to Costa Rica, that would be great. If it resonates, I can confirm also with the charts themselves what they say about what you researched. That totally makes total sense. I can do another maybe like a sort of reply video. I thought this was just a fun mix combining what I do with mundane or national astrology and also at a cultural level and seeing, the gold nugget, finding the gifts and things, especially at this time. So just look for things that are uplift you, things that are actually motivating. If you're into traveling, if you want to travel, look for things that are like that. You never know what's going to happen, right? Follow your heart, follow your soul, what really resonates with you, what lights you up. So I feel like that's where we're headed. We're here to create all that stuff. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any more questions, there can be other things that can be done with the charts and things that we can be discovered, especially when it comes to the current situations of certain places. Like, do you think this resonates with me? Oh, I forgot to also mention that Costa Rica, before we go, sorry, that when it comes to if you are looking for a relationship with people, if you are any of the earth signs, it works really well with people who are earth signs. There's a flow there. So if you're like typically got an earth sign, especially around the 14-degree mark, it's the country will work well for you, right? Between 14 to let's say 25 degrees in an earth sign, depending on your chart, your sun sign and or your moon sign, even your personal planets. So know your chart and see how you compare with that one. There is a thing called that I like to consider that's called synastral cartography. It's not officially called that way, but it's your relationship to your country. So you never know what we'll get out of that one. Anyways, thank you very much for watching again. I hope that was informative, at least the very least, and have fun with, the data at least. And yeah, hope to see you guys later. We'll see you guys later. And yeah, hope that helps. Thank you for watching. Bye.